Now that I have all of my pieces cut out and laid out on my sketch so I know where they go, I'm ready to start using the hot glue gun to glue my foam pieces onto my stamp background. When you're using the hot glue gun, you need to wear protective gloves, and you need to also make sure that you are at a table that has newspaper on it. The first step is to put just a few dots on the back of your stamp. You don't need a lot of glue to hold it still, just a few dots will do. As I'm gluing, I'm noticing that in my sketch, my shapes are touching, but on my final stamp, they're gonna need to be a little bit further apart. So one thing that I can do is just trim off a little bit of space on each side of my stamp so that it'll still fit and my shapes won't be touching. If your shapes are touching, then the outline isn't gonna show up as well. So then when I go to glue it down, I just need to leave a little bit of cardboard showing through in between those two shapes. You need to put all of your foam shapes onto your cardboard with the hot glue and then let it dry for a few minutes. While it's drying, you can write your name on the papers that you're gonna be stamping your image onto. Before you print, you need to make sure that you have your name on the back of 2 pieces of paper, and you need to make sure that you have kind of peeled off any of the little hot glue strings. If you leave those strings on your stamp, it's gonna show up when you stamp it onto the paper. So take a little bit of time, make sure that you get all those little strings peeled off. You can even hold it up to the light, tilt it from side to side to see if there are any that you are missing. Next, we're going to roll the ink onto our stamp and then stamp it onto our papers that already have our names written on them. So before you come to an inking station, make sure that you have your 2 colors picked out and that you've written your name on the back of both of those papers. It's really important that you use the correct brayer for both of these steps. So you want to use the brayer that has the rainbow sticker is the one that you're going to use to roll the ink. Make sure you're rolling the ink in between those 2 lines. Don't roll the ink outside of those lines. Once you have a nice even layer rolled onto your brayer, you can go to your stamp. Make sure your stamp is on top of a piece of newspaper, and then you're gonna roll your ink onto the stamp. You might have to go back and get a little bit more ink if you start to run out. It's okay if a little bit of ink gets onto the cardboard, but you wanna make sure that most of the ink is staying on the foam. For the next step, I'm going to move the newspaper away, and I'm going to get my paper that has my name on it, and I'm going to flip that paper over to the side that does not have my name on it. And then I'm going to take my stamp and flip my stamp over, and I'm going to just kind of float it down into the middle of my paper. Once it touches the paper, don't move it, because if you move it, then the image is gonna smear. I'm gonna use the brayer that does not have a sticker on it to kind of press my stamp down. I'm rolling my stamp in different directions. I'm making sure to roll the edges and the corners of my stamp. And then once I've rolled it all the way, I can peel my stamp off, and then I have my image. When you're ready for the next one, you're gonna get your newspaper again, and you wanna reload your brayer with ink, and then roll fresh ink onto your stamp. If it looks like there is not enough ink on the plate, get your teacher and they can help you refresh your plate with more ink on it.